Hi everyone, it's Shelle from Shell Crochet. Welcome to my May 2025 Crochet Podcast. Let's look at some finished objects. Hi everyone, it's Shelle. How are you today? I hope you're all doing well. Today is Friday, May the 30th, and I am back to wrap up May. It's going to be as much fun for me to go back through the month as it will for you, hopefully, because I haven't even looked back to see what happened earlier in the month, and I have a big bucket beside me here, but most of the things I made recently are on top. So I'm going to dig in there and see what I find. So I didn't get a ton of crochet time in the month of May. We were a little bit late. I had done a little bit of crochet that first week of May when I recorded late. And that'll be the very last thing I show you because I know it's on the bottom of my pile. But not a ton of crochet time, nowhere near as much as I got done in April. So there was a lot of littles. And I believe I told you last time I was really craving that start a project, finish a project vibe. And that's very much what happened in the month of May. And we're going to dig into some more of them right now. I'm not even going to try and go in chronological order because I'm just going to go from what's here beside me. And like I said, I made some amigurumis very recently. This one is just a wing it pattern, heavily inspired by Jayda's son and a whole bunch of other sons I saw on the internet. Just basically a ball shape, flat circular ball shape. It is stuffed. And then I just did some petals on my own to make them look like a sunburst. Gave him a nice smile with some blue eyes, and I love him. This is the closest thing I had to yellow and orange or yellow and any other sun color in my Bernat blanket yarn stash, and I am working off stash, so this is what I came up with. Took me a few kicks at the can to get the smile, but I am happy with it, and when I look at him, he makes me want to make a few more. I'll see if I come up with any other ideas for different colors to use for him. And I think I might try some that more look like flowers or just happy faces. Anyway, they don't all have to be super pointy here. I could do different things, but I like him. I'm calling him my emotional support sunshine. Then I made another clucker, Mrs. Clucker here. This I winged it as well. I was looking for the original tutorial I used when I was first making emotional support chickens last year, and I didn't know which one it was. So I just wanted a bigger one, and I wanted to use up some of this Bernat blanket yarn, and I think mallard wood. It's very old, and I did it. So I don't have, I found after the fact a little tiny scrap of red for this part here. So I will be able to use it maybe on one or two of the tiny chickens. But I just had a little bit of light gray scraps around, so I gave him his beak and his crown that way, and squished him down in the center and made a nice little sized one here, nice big sized one here, and yeah, there's his eyes. So I'm happy with that one. And then of course an Octo, because why not? So I think I had 3 of the smaller skeins of mallard wood, and this is one of them, and a tiny scrap that I had in the scrap bag of the Bernat blanket yarn. And you can see how this one pooled. I like it. And I used, okay, so for this one, I wasn't really happy with the disc colors I had left. I think mostly I had like a sparkly blue to put underneath the eyes. So I just flipped it around, and the black looks like a silvery gray color. And it gives the eyes a little bit more definition. So yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about that. The pattern for this will be linked in the description box below. I can link a couple of inspiration patterns for the other 2, but like I said, I just basically winged those 2, and these got accomplished over the last week or so. When I work on amis with Bernat blanket yarn, I use a 7mm hook, and as you all know, I'm a very tight crocheter. Let's see what's next. Just rejig some stuff so that those friends can join us for the rest of the video. And I wanted to mention at the very end of the video, there's going to be a clip that I did of all the yarn organization that happened in the month of May. I did spend quite a bit of time going through those bags as I was talking to you guys about the last time, and I'm happy I did. I even wrote myself a little yarn map right into my journal so that I know more accurately what's in there. Like I said, I hadn't really played with the bags all together in over a year. So it was good to get into some of the ones I hadn't touched at all, and it was really good to repack them and make room. I think I have originally put away about 10 bags, and now I'm down to about 8 bags. Now, of course, there's yarn in this room still, but at least it makes me feel like I'm going through my stash and I have a better sense of what's down there. And if I really need to go grab something, I can grab it, but I have pulled out quite a bit of stuff to use for the rest of the year. And actually, why don't we look at that clip now? Here's some yarn that I freed up out of some of my bags downstairs that I want to use up for hats and headbands and the odd cozy set or like hooded cowl or whatever. So I have these yarns from Dollarama. Some of them were gifted to me, and I had purchased a couple when I first started seeing them. And they're nice and soft, but they're also thin. So I think there'll be a good held double yarn. And it also does a little bit of thick to thinness. It says you can wash it, but it doesn't say you can dry it. So I've actually had a swatch of this done up for a while now, set aside for when I decided to start using them. And Chris is going to wash that in the laundry the next time he does a load. And I also pulled out all my odd skeins of Premier anti-pilling, where I only have a couple of each, so that I can make use of them. Like, I'm going to be able to do that with that very nicely. There we go. Just to get those yarns, because I have enjoyed working with those held double with something. So some of this will go with this Dollarama yarn, hopefully, if the swatch comes out okay. And some of it I might double with Latte. Some of it I might use on its own. Some of it I might double Premier on Premier. Anyway, this is going to be the bag I go to for the rest of the year until it's used up for hats and headbands for charity and the odd bigger project like a hooded cowl. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. So I think you saw the swatch, and here it is again in person. And I'm really happy that I know I can now use that yarn in conjunction with those other yarns I pulled out, and it's going to be dryer safe. So yay. And the cake is right over here behind me, actually. Not going to touch it though, because I don't want my book to fall down. It's a beautiful spring day today. It's about 21 degrees Celsius. I'm getting a little bit of breeze in my room. It's just enough that it's not too warm. And in case you hear any background noises, it will be the birds. I think the lawn guys are here off in the distance, but hopefully not too close. Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, May the 22nd, and I thought I'd do a little roundup of some projects. Lately, I've been trying to capture the video and themes for the same project. Today, it's just going to be a bunch of catch-up crochet. So I had that cloth done last time, and I had that skein of I Love This Cotton that was gifted to me in my car crochet bag, and it's no longer, because I'm going to finish it up. I have the 3 scrubbies to go with cloth. When it's the tiny ones, I like to put in 3. When it's the bigger, thicker, held double version with scrubby yarn, I like to put in 2. So that will be done, and get a little soap bar and put in a little baggie for future use, make a head stash. And what else have I got here? I also pulled out the variegated squares that were already done and trimmed in sparkle, along with the variegated yarn that I had kept aside because it's the same colors. I pulled off just enough of that blue to be able to make another square, and those ones there are going to become cat hats. Anyway, so you could consider that project about maybe a third done when I'm starting it, because I was going to make a blanket, but I no longer want to make a blanket in all variegated squares with sparkle, so I'm changing it up. This is going to be my next victim for the cat hats. That's the yarn that goes with, which means I have a couple finished. This is the first one that I put together. So pretty. And there's the opening down there. So basically on this one, I had gone back and forth with a couple rows of half double and then a single, and then I joined it all the way around, and the top got a single, and then the bottoms only got singles too, because they're quite big. So this was a sort of first one I tried. So I realized I did not need to add as much width as I thought I might have to. It's nice to turn squares into rectangles for these hats, but I mean, they can fit both ways depending on how big your square is. So on the second one, I did only one round of half double, 1 row of half double on each edge on both squares, and then 1 single at the top, and then I seamed the whole thing with single. And this one I actually used
single crochets to join it, so it's got a seam. You can tell that it's the inside, and then the bottom just has a single crochet as well. I take out all my chains to make it a little bit tighter, but that's all that one got. So now this one, I think I might just leave it. So what I would do is only do single crochet like this on each square. I have to make the second square first and then join it and see if it's even smaller, and I won't try making this one at all rectangular. Now, if I want them even smaller up to this, my only other choice is to go back and take off one of these rounds of granny stitch that I had already completed on one of the two squares and add width this way instead. And then I will be done. So we'll probably finish these up next month, but they're nice kind of quick projects. And when I want something even quicker, I make one of these. Here's another headband. And this one is in that purple sparkle that I just had out to be doing those trims with. So I just decided to make one of these headbands that I've been making for the last few months. And one more thing, I think. Mrs. Clucker, I have a new amigurumi chicken, and I thought this yarn would make some good chicken. So I was winging this one. I did not go back and look at the video. I really should. Get myself a couple ideas, especially when I want to make these bigger ones. I do not have any more red blanket yarn. I might pull out some red scraps if I find any to do some accessories if I'm making more of these. But I think he ended up looking okay, or she ended up looking okay. And that is my current clucker. I was just about to say that I might do some work on the scrap blanket, but I have started my C2C squares. So this is what they will look like if I am doing half and half. And these are 16 blocks squared. And I'm using a 7mm hook with my Bernat Pop scraps. So that is version 1. Turn it this way so you can see it that way as well. And I have 2 like that. Very nice. And this is another version that I may also involve in the same project, because I'm going to have something to do when I don't have quite enough to do half and half. So this was a little inspo I got working with some smaller scraps. I've left my ends in case I change my mind, because I could pull these out and do granny work with them instead, but we will see. I haven't weighed all the balls yet, so I'm going to weigh those 2 squares so I know exactly what half and half gets me, and then I will go from there. And we'll make a little chart, and this project will continue between now and probably the end of September when it starts to get cool again, so I can start putting it together. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May the 13th. It is a beautiful spring day out there right now, but I'm hearing we're going to be getting a lot of rain over the next few days. I won't complain because it helps make it all green out there. And I'm coming on with a little bit of an update. This is some freed yarn, which I will talk about in a minute. And you can see I'm starting to write the dates on the cakes. So that one is from 2018 and the other one's from 2019. That's just some scrap white I'm using up. This one's going to be a spiral beanie held double with the white. And I have a couple of headbands in the remnants of that other tealish, bluish latte cake I was finishing up scraps from last time. So that's the front and that's the back. These are almost completely identical with the brick stitch going in there and the hair tie at the back. And we've been talking about these for a while, so I'll try and be super efficient. And here is another one of my cat hats that I've been working top down, which I'm really liking for these. So just a chain, single crocheting down the chain, a couple extra stitches in the end, come all the way around, do the same. I think I did like an increase on each end twice, so only about 4 extra stitches total, just to get it to come around and fold nicely, because these are, you know, when people are making cat hats normally they're doing like 2 pieces and just seaming them up, right? I'm liking this version, so I did the single crochet for the start into half double and then into double in the spiral. And super easy for these ones coming out of the spiral, because you can just do it on the corner edge here and just go down half double, single, slip stitch, and then go into your chain for your post stitches, which are here. A little hard to see with all the fun there going on. So this was that same latte cake scrap held with some Premier anti-pilling left over in the gray from the bobbin I had in the shawl last time. And yes, here's the hook, 8 milli. 8 milli's still in pretty good shape. She hasn't lost her shape in her neck quite yet. And my coffee is just about finished, and I'm gonna see what I can get accomplished today. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
I know I showed you a picture of this the last time. I had just broken into this last skein of Hobby Lobby I Love This cotton I had when I was out and about. It was in my crochet car bag. And so I have finished up that skein. So the first one I had done back then was a lemon peel dishcloth. And then Jayda put out a new tutorial for a baby blanket last Friday, and I just wanted to try the stitch. I think it's a Suzette stitch she ended up saying. Anyway, it's just single and double in the same stitch, and you skip a stitch initially and you work into your singles. So a nice little cloth there. And then that reminded me that last year during the Magical Granny's covered crochet along with all the different granny squares, I really liked the granny square with the decrease cluster in the middle instead of a chain, so that you have a nice closed pattern and also texture. So this is exactly the same as doing a granny square or a traditional granny square, but instead of chaining one in between, you do a 3 double crochet decrease cluster, and you work those clusters into the middle stitch of each granny cluster going around in the next row. Now on hers, maybe I'll pop a picture up here, but it's linked in the description box. She did it to do color changes. And when I originally made the square, that's not what I wanted it for. But because the charities are usually asking for closed stitches, not open work, it's a really good one for that. And it's just as simple as a granny square. You just use up a lot more yarn because you're changing a chain for like a 3 double crochet cluster. Anyway, I like it. So I made another cloth using that stitch. And then I got 4 scrubbies total out of that skein. So this is for me in my tension, 1 skein of Hobby Lobby I Love This cotton, 3 cloths, 4 scrubbies, and I will make up some self-care sets with this. 5. I found one more, so there's 5. I wish I had 6, but 5 is gonna have to do. At the end of the last video, I was showing you my scraps of the Bernat pop from that blanket. And so I have reorganized the cakes. I have them all here. They're actually under this box I have set aside of all of the different yarns I want to be able to use for hats and headbands for charity. There's all the remainder of the cakes are in a basket right below that. And I started making some of the large corner to corner blocks I want to make. These are 16 by 16, and I'm using a 7mm hook with this. So it takes 60 grams of yarn to do one of these blocks. So that is I have 2 of them that are just half and half. There's another one. And then I have one that I striped. So I could see that there wasn't going to be enough for this one to be able to do half and half. And so I just took advantage of using up really small scraps, and I did 3 bigger stripes. So I have since gone through all of those scraps and weighed them, and I made a chart in my journal so I know exactly what I have, and there weren't very many that would give me this version, the half and half version. So I'm going to work those up first and see how many total squares I get, and then I'm going to do some measurements, and then I will have to dig into the full cakes to be able to make more that style. And at that point I'll have to decide whether I want to combine the half and half squares with this look. I like the idea of them all being half and half. So if I don't do it more patchworky and include this one is the only one I'll take out. And what I'll probably do is just take it out to the stripe on each side and build off those with smaller scraps. So a little bit more weighing has to get done. So after I did all that, I haven't really felt like working on this too much since, but it'll be a great project to have in June, July, and August when it's super warm. Because it's not going to be lying all over me until I want to put it together into a blanket. So more on that next time we do a video. So that'll be the next Bernat pop project I do, and it'll be interesting to see if it ends up being 1 project or 2 once I get further along into it. I did start putting together the cat hats. I am not going to put them on because it's getting a little toasty for me in here. There's some pictures of some of them. I think it's more the ones I did with the latte cakes than these ones, but they're plenty big enough. I was surprised how big the actual squares were. So initially I had the granny squares like you saw with 2 rounds of the sparkle at the end, and I was adding on the sides with half double and then just single at the top and then seaming the entire thing, but I didn't need that much. So I didn't really need to make these more rectangular. I like doing the cat hats a little more rectangular for how they sit on the head, but you don't have to. You can make them out of squares. And then I just did a very, very basic trim at the bottom because it didn't need any more. So they're ample, let's just put it that way. And I think they're unique and interesting. So I had the, I think actually the last one I'm going to show you is the one I had in the car. I did some of this crochet when I wasn't at home, and I had the sparkle yarns with me and the existing granny squares, so it was easier to continue with the project. It was kind of half done, maybe a little less than half done. So then I started modifying it and not putting as much on the sides. This one's much more square, as you can see. It has the same trim color, super bright and fun. And then this one. I think this is the second one I worked on, so I'll show you the order of the size with all three of them in a second. This one's really pretty, and the sparkle on this one is Karen Simply Soft Party. It's very soft, splitty but soft. So I was really happy that I claimed these out of my variegated bag. It didn't need to be what I originally had intended it to be, and it's going to help people and keep some people warm this way, and a lot faster for me to finish it off as well. So there's the first one. There's the second one. There, line them up that way. So you can see a little bit of the extra there. And then this is the last one. So slightly different sizes. And I would say that the variegated yarns match very well in terms of their thickness. The brown is a little thinner than the purple in terms of the sparkle, but those three are done. I think way back at the beginning of the month, I had made one cat hat the way I had started making them a couple of months back when Crystal was making some cat hats. And so this is the style where I'm just starting with a chain and treating the top like a bag with basically very little increases, just enough that it folds over, and then I work it in the spiral. And I really like this way of doing them. So if I didn't already have the squares, this would be my preferred method from doing them, not having to join it up or anything. There's a lot fewer steps for me this way, so that's why I like it. And you can see the shaping. I think that's a really good shaping for the hat, so that it's coming in at the brim here, and it is already showing you that when you put it on, you're gonna have ears. So this one is latte with some Premier anti-pilling in a gray color, and I have more of that yarn, so that will be going into some more hats one way or another. It's funny because the only clips that I reviewed previous to recording the video was the ones about my organization of my yarn. So I really have no idea what the clips are, and that's always entertaining for me when I record first and then I go back and add the clips in, because I have no idea what I said in them. So we're almost done, believe it or not. I have a few of the headbands and a few more regular hats, and then the project that I had actually started at the very beginning of the month, and I did work on it throughout the month, but it was the one that I had started when I recorded last time. So let's look at the latte ones first. We have this one here. I think this one I remember was the Healing Teal. This is the last of the Healing Teal. Latte on its own, a couple of different headbands. I've been doing them with the elastics. We've been talking about them for a few months now, so I don't need to go into the detail. As always, just let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to chat with you about stuff. And there's a little purple sparkle one, and the sparkle I was using on those hats, cat hats. And this is the last headband. You see that I had already done the cat hat with the granny squares in this yarn, and you're about to see a hat with latte cake and a different latte cake I found. I pulled out one random cake of latte, and I really think it looks super pretty with that yarn. So that's just the same yarn as the headband I was just showing you, held with this stripy latte cake. I'll put the name at the bottom. I think I still have the band. And it was just a one-off, Chatty Birds. It was just a one-off, and it's got like a white undertone to parts of it, but there's green and blue. Anyway, it looks good with so many different things, and I thought it looked awesome with that other variegated yarn. The variegated yarns, none of them have labels, so there may be more of them in my stash, but I didn't pull out any skeins. I only pulled out what was already done, so I don't have the names of those right now. And then this is the very first hat I made this month, actually, and it is held just with white, held double, and so you can actually see a little bit more of what that latte cake does on its own in this hat. Let me hold it a little closer for you. It's so pretty. So pretty and squishy. So yeah, just held with white spiral beanie. Always linked in the description box whenever I'm showing them. Looks like I didn't tie in my end. Okay, I turned that inside out so I don't forget to get that end. And this is the last hat I made. I actually just made this hat last night, and it's the same latte cake, but I actually ombre'd this one with scraps myself. So all of these yarns were in the baby blanket I made much earlier this year. So you have a little bit of a turquoisey color there. And then there was a gray to a lighter gray. And then I had a tiny little scrap left of a variegated baby yarn I had been using in the blanket. And that made it to here. And then I finished off with some white when I ran out. So yeah, I like the way that one turned out as well. Super cozy and warm. There was one more headband hiding in the bottom of the bucket. And this is just some Mary Maxim yarn that I had. I've already done a couple of them in this yarn as well. And I actually have a box sitting under my desk, and I have like a tick chart because I figured it's the easiest way to count. So I have a section for cat hats, a section for hats, and a section for headbands. And I haven't added in the ones from May yet, but we're in good shape. 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, I remember that now. There were 22 headbands before this month. And yeah, so I will actually update that box so the next time we talk, I can actually give you the new totals. And we'll go from there. There's definitely some clips of this that will go back to the very beginning of May. Hello everyone, today is Friday, May the 9th, and I am popping on to show you the things I've been working on so far in May. I have not had much crochet time, and this is what's been getting the bulk of my attention. It's a scrappy Red Heart Roll with its Sparkle shawl that I'm working on freeform. And you can see the tiniest little scrap of purple right here, and then some dark blue, and then we go through royal blue, a different purple, a silvery, a gray, a plummish color, charcoal, real royal blue, a very light lavender purple, and some other grays, and we're on the pink now. The only scrap color I have left is a light blue, so we're going to see if I can get that one in next. And then I'm not sure what I might do. I think I have some 2-weight sparkle black that I might try to trim it with. But yeah, this one is almost finished, but not quite finished. Just doing a lot of whatever I felt like. There's a bunch of V-stitch rows in it. There's a bunch of rows where I just do 2 and 2 double crochets, skip 1, 2 double crochets. So it's still a solid row, just different looking solid row. Lots of solid double crochets. This is my trebles right here. I have a section of quite a bit of V's. I think there's a couple of different V-stitch section, but if you do a bunch of V-stitch rows, it tends to look a little lacy, which is nice. Anyway, I was doing it freeform, which I'm enjoying doing quite a bit with that base tutorial from the Shallow Shawl from Carrie Penny. So I just put it on so we can have a look at how it looks this way. And I'm going to do a couple of different styles for you as we're talking about it. So I had really a lot of fun, probably the most fun of any of the shallow shawls I've made so far with this one, just because I've now gotten to the point where I can just do what I want. Like I said the last time, I'm just treating them like mandalas. I pulled out some of this ice yarn black sparkle I had, and so I just, when I happened to have that sparkle bag out earlier in the month, I grabbed the 3-weight version, and it worked out much better just as a nice little trim. And also the charcoal was part of what I had left anyway, so it made the black look even nicer, I think. But I'm having so much fun with these, and it was everything I could do not to start another. And I think it actually affected how much I got done in May, because I kind of wanted to work on another one, but it's easier with the blankets and the heads and the hat bands because I know where they're going. I don't really have a place for the shawls right now. So unless I know someone who wants one of these, I can't really just keep making them all the time, and I'm not going to make them all for myself or anything. So we will put this one on the other way as well. What else do I have to say? So earlier in the year, I had made another one. We'll post it up here, a picture of it. And then I basically took 2 cakes and made it my own way. So I didn't necessarily just have one cake, and I did color control because that's how I like to do it. But I really, really like how this one turned out. And I simply just used the smallest scraps first. And then where I had more scraps, I just played with the color. There was something in me that really didn't want pink and blue together too much. So and there was different versions of the color, right? So when you're looking at it in the cake, it might have just looked like a pink section of the cake, but really probably like this color, the one way down here and one of the ones up here, all were part of the pink in the cake. So I don't know, this one is really pretty, and it's liberal. There's a lot to it. So I had already started this one before I recorded the last time, and I hadn't seen myself put that black and gray one on from the last time. I'm going to start doing that first section with a bigger chunk of color. For the most part, it's going to be in a part, like unless you have super short hair, it's not going to really show anyway. I like balance, and I always think of the beginning of the shawl, the shorter section, as a thick section of color, but it doesn't always have to look that way, especially depending on how much of it's going to show. And I like the idea of that first color kind of coming over your shoulders just a little bit. So that'll change my strategy moving forward with how I'm putting the colors in these. But I love this super stripey. I love the sparkle. I love the open work. What's not to love? Several of you have mentioned to me that you're interested in making these whenever you see them. So go for it. Pull out some really fun yarn that you have wanted to use but haven't used and make yourself one. They would be great for this time of year if you make them in thinner weight, breathable yarns. If you've got some of those fancy skeins that Shell stays away from, but I know many of you have in your stash in like the fingering weights or just 2/8 yarns, use them up. Because even though they might be wool, they'll still probably be a lot more breathable than acrylic in the warmer months. And yeah, this is a fun way to do it. So just have fun with it. There's even trebles in this, which I may or may not have said in the clip. Like I say, it's been so long since I took those clips, I really don't know what they would, what they say. Look at the little edge I did there. So cute. Put it over there on the white background. Gray, but it looks white to you. Anyway, this was fun. If you have any questions, let me know. The tutorial is always linked for the original shawl that Carrie Penny did the tutorial for to give us this empowerment to make our own things. So that's a wrap on the month of May. Like I said, not a ton of crochet time comparatively speaking, but I'm happy with what I accomplished. I'm looking forward to looking at my numbers of what's going on for charity, and I feel a bit weird not having a blanket to show from this month, but I know that at the end of the summer there will be blanket projects that I'm just going to assemble, so we will kind of go from there with it. Didn't work on the scrap can again, and that one's probably going to wait now because it's so warm. We had this little couple days where it was chilly, and I thought I might do some then, but I think I'm at the point in that blanket where I don't know what color to do next, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think in June, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. I was really feeling I was struggling with the Crojo a little bit there the last sort of 10 days. These guys were making me happy and playing with some eyes, so you might see some more of those. Yeah, so it's fun to make the Amis. I always struggle with one aspect whenever I'm making them. With the Octos, I struggle with the legs. With most of them, I struggle with the embroidery, but I'm looking forward to making some more and some little ones so that they don't take up quite as much time or hurt my hands quite as much. But you'll probably see a few more blocks. Hopefully I can get that sort of sorted as to how I'm going to do the blocks now that I have all the weights of the yarn, and I'll either just be making smaller blocks or we'll see. I don't know exactly yet. I did pull out some cotton, some Caron cotton cakes from my cotton bag, and I have an idea of a shrug thing that I want to make for myself. But as I said a couple months ago, I don't know if I'll get to it, so that's why I don't really mention it too much. But I do have an idea of something like that in some sort of lighter colors. This that I've been wearing today, this top, is very old now. So this is actually Bernat Handicrafter Stripey. It was so fun when those little stripey cakes first came out. I think the US gets them as peaches and cream stripey, because the yarn, the cotton in them seemed so much softer than the Handicrafter cotton at the time. Now they went and discontinued and reintroduced them, where they would go away and they would come back, and as they did that, it changed. It wasn't the same yarn anymore, because I have them with several different years on them. But this is old. That was the point. So I'm pretty sure I got this at the probably in the summertime of 2020. So I'm not sure how quickly I made it, but I'll find a picture. It'll have the date on it, and I'll post it here for you to see, or at the end of the video for you to see. So this is really old. Like it's getting to the point where some of the grays in it are starting to look purple, which I don't mind, but you can tell that it's been laundered a bunch of times, and I do get a decent amount of wear out of it. The only other drawback to it really is it's pilling a bit, but the pilling's not as bad as the fact that it kind of leaves itself behind on the clothing that you're wearing. But anyway, I just get a kick out of it. I can wear this top all year round because I'm wearing a tank top under it today, but I can wear it over a long sleeve shirt as well, and it's breathable, so it's fine for this time of year, and it's heavy enough that it's also fine when it's cooler out. So I've gotten a lot of wear out of it, and I'll post some pictures for you and make sure that we know how old it actually is. Okay, friends, I've taken up enough of your time for today. I hope you're all doing well. If you're interested to see how I put my yarn away and what I accomplished by going through it, it's going to be about 6 minutes clip at the end of the video. If not, I'll see you the next time I record. Have a great day and happy crochet. Bye, everyone.
Hey everyone! So I was talking about wanting to go through my yarn and just kind of refresh what I had packed away. There's one of my bags over there in the corner. It's empty. Celebrate, celebrate. I am going to do a few clips and hopefully stick them in here after this, just showing you what it's like with one of the bags. I have already repacked, I think, 4, and I have my acrylic bag up here along with my sparkle bag. I keep my sparkle bag separate, so I'm going to go through those and see how full they actually are. I need to put some acrylic back actually that I pulled out trying to look for colors that didn't work out, and I'm going to try and call this like my, well, it's kind of a 1-year reset from when I packed everything away, but Chris has brought me up a bag here and there for me to dig through, so I feel like this will be the yarn I have access to until it's cold again. Once it's cold again, I know that I will be pulling out my bulky yarns because there's a couple of projects I have in mind for some homespun I have in there. But anyway, I am going to go play with some acrylic and some sparkle and take you along for the ride. And I'm glad that I pulled this one out because they're great for these cozy sets and hats that I'm making, and the headbands. Held double with a variety of other yarns that I've also freed up. This is an example of one of my bags. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun to play with those homespun cakes and make them into stripy blankets with some of that black homespun, all on clearance. And underneath, I have cake yarn, blanket yarn, some of which I might pull out for some amigurumis. Looks like I have more puzzle yarn in here too. I'm gonna steal some yarn out of here, some size 6 for amigurumi, and some of the loops and thread Barcelona I'm gonna steal back for cozy sets for charity, and that will be that for this bag. Another one that I went through is my cake bag. Cotton cakes, skinny cakes, a few big cakes, a bunch of crystal cakes. I'm showing myself my cotton so I can come back and look at this later and look at my colors. I think there might even be some things hiding under the crystal cakes I forgot to check on, but it was great. It was very fun looking at all the yarn. Hey everyone, just working on my yarn. This time it's the sparkle bag, and I have rejigged it a little bit. So I have all of my super large Mary Maxim skeins. I think they're like 300 grams or something like that, underneath these packs of Bernat. And then I got these Huga Charm yarns. There's 8, 4 packs of 2. Now I have some ice yarns and thinner yarns. And then the rest of my Bernats that are kind of individual sparkle skeins, couple here and there, but mostly individual. And I pulled out a wee bit of Christmas Mary Maxim sparkle to use up in just green and red in case I need it. But this is repacked, and I had that two crystal cakes out, and I have already used one of each of these Red Heart roll with its sparkles, so I figured I'd stick those in there just before I close up the bag. And then I will just redo this little tag and update it in my journal so that I know I have redone it. All right, so this is the last bag I'm going to be working on, and it is my Bernat Premium bag, or it was. Let's see what I've done to it. Pardon the zipper. So you can see it's all rather disheveled in there at the moment. So I'm going to see what else I can fit in here, and if anything made its way in there that shouldn't have. And I'm actually hoping to get all of the premiums together again, but anything else that would go with, like I have a couple of Bernat Super Values that can go in there as well. and we'll see, we'll go from there. This is my cozy style stash. It is, there's this one Mary Maxim one that is, I had the cozy style yarn in this exact same heathered black charcoal gray colorway. I have 2 of the creams, 2 of the grays, 2 of the terracotta, and then 1 of each of these. But they're the same thick thinness. Thinness is what I would call these ones. They're a little thin, especially compared to like Loops and Threads or even the Red Heart Granny Square yarn. Or even Red Heart Comfort. They're much thinner, so I'd prefer those to be together. They would be okay with Bernat Premium. And these yarns that I'm working on now, but I'm going to see where they fit afterwards. And I'm going to see how much of my extra Bernat Premium that I may have stolen out for colors can go back in here, and if I have any room in this bag. So this is not quite full yet, but I'm really happy with how I changed it around. So the back section has 3 of each color, of the colors that I had 3 in. Actually, one of them on the far right had 6. I really like that heather, I forget what it's called. It's a purpley heather color. And so I had gotten a bunch of that when it was on clearance. And then the middle section there has, well, all the rest of it is at least 2 skeins. And I'm about to throw the ones I have 1 of on top. And then the only thing I found that was not technically premium are just those 2 skeins of Super Value, which will play just fine with this. So I have to make a final decision if they're going to go in or I'm going to leave them out for the scrap stuff I already have on the go. But yeah, it's also fun because it's very obvious to see where there's holes in your stash color wise. And one of the holes I have is burgundy. I have like nothing burgundy. I have a nice red there, but I do not have anything burgundy. I have already used up what I had. Must have been 1 skein here or there. And yeah, but a lot of good colors. You can also tell the colors you've used more of because, for example, I only have 1 of those left. And I also only have 1 spring green left. My other green that I have 3 of left was something I found at Spin Right in Listowel at the Yarn Factory outlet when we were there in person one time. It was my very first time seeing Mainstays Yarn here in Canada, and they had not started putting it in the Walmarts yet, but it was a super good price when I got it. So I have 3 of those left, and they would play with this as well. So I'm not sure. I'm going to fill this bag up the best that I can. And then something really weird happened, and everything slowed down on the video, and I don't know what happened. But anyway, this is my acrylic bag that's going away, and I think you guys have seen plenty of fun yarny goodness at the end of today's podcast. If you're still here, thanks for hanging out. I hope you got some inspiration from seeing all these beautiful yarn colors, and I hope you will enjoy the month of June. Have a great day and happy crochet. Bye, friends.